ball rolling. They're the ones that need to make their impact on the map known. Whereas CFU Gaming will sit very comfortably just waiting for the mid-game for those big 5v5s. The Land of Dawn will open up once again for game number 1 between Virtus.pro on the blue side as well as CFU Gaming on the red.
All right, so the age-old tale, friend versus friend. Tagami up against Saw right now. And the sad part is Tagami is a jungler. Saw's a mid laner. That is one of Tagami's #1 targets right now. Has to try to lock on, has to try to do the damage to that back line. And the thing about the YSS is it's going to be able to do that well against Saw because he has that dash capability. He wants to come in, close his distance, get past the flare, get past the lantern, and just take them out. It is, yeah, it's an assassin. It's kind of not an assassin. It's a fighter. It's a marksman. Who really knows? Who really cares? But Tagami has one objective, and it's to kill the squishies on the side of Virtus.pro.
You could argue that Zusen isn't the squishiest mid laner, but as a marksman jungle, Yisanshin is actually one of the few that can handle those kinds of conditions. So yes, Sa might end up being a victim of Tagami a lot this game, especially with Killing Spree taken as the emblem as well. Tagami intends to fight once she's got those items under her belt.
And it's been a while since we've seen Killing Spree be such a prominent emblem for so many heroes. Like, yes, it's always kind of been around. We've seen it pop up here and there. Whoa, Daisy.
Mountain Shocker comes in, Daisy in trouble, flickers away, but there is Ui. Locks down Hilda, and Tagami picks up first blood.
Very well done, and that's exactly what they want to see here. And you mentioned when this started that VP needed to be aggressors early on. You could maybe argue Hayabusa might take at least an item to really come online, but still they need to not let the side of CFU get too far ahead. And with a kill and a turtle in the book, we're already looking at a small goal, lead 500 gold, but still map control overall for the side of CFU.
You can instantly see how CFU Gaming's lineup is a lot easier to play around. Gatot and Hylos are such bulky boys that it's very difficult for the Hilda to actually leave lane and even try and mess with Tagami in the jungle. And we've already seen in the past, if Hilda is not able to apply pressure early, this hero drops off very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, and Daisy can apply the pressure. It's okay if Daisy dies. That one death against Daisy isn't the end of the world. It's kind of the job, bides some time. And we're seeing Starsoy take her time overall. A little bit of action in the mid. Shouldn't be anything too major. The disengage does happen, but watch for Starsoy.
Starsoy comes in, Ogi shadow kill on fire, but the real one manipulation. Use the shield necessary. Starsoy eventually picks him off the blocks. Gonna lock down Cow. It is a 1-for-1 trade.
Roamer for mid laner though, and the kill does go into the hands of Starsoy. I was just talking about her. Needed a little bit of time, needed to clear some jungles, and gets past the RWM as well under the tower. So we're already seeing the possibilities of the damage, and Starsoy hasn't even gotten a full item locked in yet.
Daisy nearly picks off Moshi in the EXP lane as well. The Hylos just barely survives, which is very important, but it also means that Daisy will be uncontrolled for a short bit. Will be able to shove in this lane. Starsoy now looking for Yui in the top lane. Doesn't even need to commit the Ogi shadow kill. Sets it up for Liv. The Moskov picks up the 1v1.
Still didn't have the OG shadow kill, but was willing, just got it right after that fight and was comfortable getting that kill. So very well done by VP. They're now coming into this game strong.
And this is the aggression we talked about, right? Virtus.pro, as long as they're able to pick up a snowball, the tankiness of CFU Gaming will no longer become an issue. And Virtus have a lot more capability of going for a macro split pushes in the late game.
Okay, a little bit of action down at the turtle pit.
Cow gonna get taunted by Ui. Wrap the Dryad, flicker forward, pulls Moshi back into the revitalize from Ui though. And now it is going to be 1v3. Daisy in the back line. Fear of Destruction lands on Tagami. AOG knocks up Daisy. And Hilda will be the first victim. Cow is able to recall back in time, but CFU Gaming are now 5-man strong. They will pick up the turtle.
Yeah, when CFU is a full unit like that, 5 members, there is not much Virtus.pro can do about it, especially at this state of the game, especially when there's only 3 of them, 2 of them engaging on that fight. Virtus.pro, we're seeing the damage come from Starsoy, we're seeing the capabilities come from the team, but it's going to be a while until everyone can be together for these big fights. It's just not how their composition works currently, to where CFU can look for these group ups very early on.
But at the same time, if Virtus.pro are able to force CFU to group up a lot, it will reduce their overall farming pressure. Tagami and Yui are obviously going to be the main targets here. The slower they farm, the better it'll be for VP.
Liv does have a small gold lead right now over the side of Yui, but nothing too crucial. Hunter Strike has been locked in for Yui. It's going to be, I mean, that's a big item for a Granger. That's what I mean when I'm talking about the Granger getting some early game advantage. He's not too late game. He can already start packing out.
Daisy jumping in on Yui. AOG cuts them off as well. Ui not able to save her gold laner. And Virtus.pro just continues the pressure.
Starsoy decides not to come in. Hits a U-turn there, but that's a good start for Virtus.pro. The gold is still at a standstill at this point. We're already seeing when Virtus.pro is together, when there's 4 or 5 of them in the team fight, they can handle the pressure the CFU wants to bring. Taking a look at some of the heroes right now, Yui sitting at 0, 2, and 0. Not a great start, and what was crazy when we were looking at the gold and items earlier, Yui wasn't too far behind, but was already starting to fall behind in gold, and now I got a feeling it's getting even worse, and especially with 2 of the 3 kills for Virtus.pro being in the hands of Liv, this Moskov could start scaling out of control and being able to shred down the front line of CFU.
And I like that Virtus.pro understands that Liv on this Moskov is going to be their key to victory. Once you get into the mid game and Moshi and Ui have a couple of items, it's so difficult to melt them down unless you have the marksman online. And that's what they're trying to do. Turtle now going to be contested. Tagami has control. Ui gets picked up. The flicker into the Wrath of Dryad picks up 2, but Tagami still secures the turtle. AOG comes in. Ui used as defensively, but killing spree on Liv as he jumps forward and melts down CFU Gaming 4 for 1 trade.
Liv was not supposed to come online this quick, and Liv is already there. Starsoy as well. Look at the pincer.
They want Yui. Daisy just barely survives the tower. They will not be able to get the team wipe, but the damage is more than done.
All Virtus.pro needed was about an item on Liv and about an item on Starsoy, and things quickly turned into their favor. Tagami's been having a great game, was still able to get that turtle even in the midst of the chaos, but it just wasn't enough. The damage of Virtus.pro is starting to outperform Ue, is starting to outperform Moshi, and Tagami and Fa just can't survive in the back line. It's 2.8 gold lead for Virtus.pro. CFU already starting to fall significantly behind.
That's the risk of a team fighting composition like this. You are depending on your tanks to slow the game down and for you to have control over most of the teamfight situations. However, Virtus.pro has played the map, has targeted specific players to funnel resources into, and now Liv is a huge problem for CFU.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Another Spear of Destruction finds Fire in the backline. RWM comes out, but he melts so quickly. Unstoppable for Liv, dashes into the back. Wrath of Dryad locks down 2. Liv with the double kill as CFU is wiped again.
Liv. The way she played the distance on that Wrath of Dryad, the way she comes in with the Spear of Destruction first, her spacing right now is impeccable in these fights. Her positioning is key, and she knows exactly where to be, when to be. And also, she hasn't missed a whole lot of those SODs. It seems to be one of the biggest problems. Let's take a look at the replay. Now watch this. She spaces back. The Wrath of Dryad doesn't finally come out, but look at her just playing the distance on it. Never gets touched by it, never gets stunned by it, and is able to just unleash those shots into everybody.
And the positioning from the rest of Virtus.pro was excellent as well. They were surrounding CFU Gaming right from the beginning. The RWM could only catch 1 or 2 people max at once. Another Wrath of Dryad into 4 members! The skewer going insane with the Gatling Spears. Triple kill for Starsoy, double kill for Sa. It is a team wipe for Virtus.pro.
CFU falls to shambles in the hands of Starsoy, Sa, and Liv. All 3 of them. At this point, it's like a toss-up of who's going to get the most kills each team fight. Lord does go into the hands of Virtus.pro at this point. Towers are falling, and CFU might be next.
What an insane play. This is the debut game of Belleric, and Kao is making every team here wonder, maybe I should pick the hero up. A 4-man ultimate catch right in the mid lane into the Spear of Destruction from the opposite side of the map. It is a beautiful symphony from VP.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Virtus.pro 8.1K gold lead. We're looking at what we've been seeing a lot in some of these games to where teams are able to just scale up and it doesn't feel like there's anything the opposing team can do. We're 10.5 minutes in. CFU in the base already. Lord about to crash.
Lord will collide. Bottom tower will be dealt with in quick fashion. Mountain Shocker basically does nothing at this point, as CFU Gaming is forced to hide in the back. Ui trying to hold the front line with Revitalize, but gets picked up straight away. RWM catches everyone, but Wrath of Dryad does the exact same thing. Starstory comes in, Liv melts away fast so quickly, and Sa even picks up her own double kill on the side. This is looking like a complete wash right now. 2v5, Crystal is wide open, and VP is not playing any games here. They will take game number 1.
Victory!
Even with a slightly sketchy start for the first 2 minutes, Virtus.pro, once they find their groove, came in so strong in that game. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed it would be a complete domination after watching the first few minutes of that game, but once they started getting some kills in, it was GG's, and I was shouting out Liv, Starsoy, but also Cow on that Belleric. If it wasn't for some of those plays, if it wasn't for some of those lockdowns with the Wrath of Dryad, none of it might have been possible.
Yeah, it was just perfect. It was excellently done. And I agree with you, Drex. In the very beginning, I thought that CFU was doing a good job of slowing down the game, of actually getting some kills into Tegami. But the momentum up so quickly when Liv became the main target, when VP funneled everything into her.
All right, still an emotional battle, even with the win. Sa knows she's stabbing the knife into her own friend's heart at this point, and I mean, it's tough. This is the nature of competition all around. Taking a look at some of these highlights, Tegami started off great. Daisy had some trouble in the beginning. So much of this battle was about when and where to choose these fights, and Virtus.pro, with the few missteps, once Starsoy got an item locked in, it was game time. Once Liv got 1 or 2 items locked in, it was game time, and they quickly and regularly put those put those kills into the hands of Liv. And Cal, with so many of those Wrath of Dryads, was just, you know, we said that the Tigreal could have worked, but I feel like the Belleric worked even better, because the thing about it is that ult's just a little bit bigger. It just about fills up that whole RWM, and just the spacing that CFU wants to take in these team fights, so it was almost a guarantee hit on at least 2 or 3 members every time.
And the fact that she played it with a flicker made all the difference. There's a argument to be had between flicker, revitalize, or vengeance. The flicker made it work, and oh my god, when Cal found that first big ticket, Wrath of the Dryads, it was just short of a minute from then, and Starsoy and Liv picked up the rest of it. Again, these Indonesian imports for Virtus.pro making bank for their squad, again putting CFU Gaming at elimination point, the brink of death from MWI 2025. Here's a look at the post-game stats. Again, 19-7.
And just look at the item disparity. Most of Virtus.pro was almost reaching their final items in the build, while CFU Gaming was still struggling to hit the midpoint. Liv even already started selling shoes towards the end because of how confident she felt jumping into these team fights.
You know, something really important to point out is those 7 kills on CFU were on 0 damage dealers on Virtus.pro. All the people that matter in those big team fights, you know, the ones that are going to output the damage, all went deathless. Saw, Liv, Starsoy, all sitting at beautiful KDAs this game. They knew the objective and they achieved it.
Here's a quick head-to-head of the team's goal distribution across the board. CFU Gaming, they were farming, right? Yui was able to score some jungle creeps. She was able to get some Turtle and Lord gold. And then, of course, roam items meant more to her because the rest of her team was doing better. But compare that to Cow, who was all about impact, kills, assists, passive gold, minions. She was in lane more often than Yui because Yui was literally just throwing herself at Virtus.pro to save her cores.
It's very true. And I mean, Kao knew exactly where to be when she needed to be there overall. You know, and it's a weird graph to look at between the two roamers, but I think overall it just shows that Kao made the right decisions in terms of where she was focused, where she needed to be at what time.
Kao had excellent positioning throughout the entire game. She wasn't always the first one to initiate. She was following up. She was cutting off escape routes, and that positioning allowed her to gain the most assists across the entire game. But then there's Liv, right? She is the true star of this game. That Moskov, this is a hero you usually expect to take a while before he starts joining team fights, and Liv just throws that fact out the window.
Yeah, no, she smelt blood in the water, and again, that is very much to the hard work and excellence put on display by Kao. That's another successful debut here on Stream B. Here's the thing, a little bit of trivia. Last year in MWI 2024, I believe after a dozen games, the hero pool was at about 41, 42 picks unique. This time in MWI 2025, after the first dozen games, we're looking at 46, 47 unique heroes. Okay. So we've already surpassed the diversity and the depth of the hero pool in the metagame. What more now that we've introduced the likes of a Beleric, the Yu Zhong, Suyo getting revived?
You know, and that's why I think in terms of meta, I don't think we're in a horrible place right now. We've seen different types of jungler comps work out. And though sometimes it feels like there's only a few really good picks in each lane, it doesn't mean that you can't dig deep and find something that will work to each composition. And so many teams are willing to push the envelope right now and try what they think will work. And a lot of time it is paying off.
Far from it. This metagame is wide open. The fact that you're able to put an Eve into your draft alongside an old favorite like the Hylos and the brand new pick in the Yusun Shin and the Granger that, is, going from death and life and death the current metagame. Gentlemen, is there anything wrong in Virtus.pro's read, in CFU Gaming's read of the draft? Did they not understand these interactions, or were they blindsided by really just Sa's sudden snowball?
I think definitely blindsided a little bit by the Beleric. I think on paper, once again, this is a draft that looks good. The objective is clear on how you're supposed to fight this. But the Wrath of Dryad was just a problem. And then Liv getting out of control, the 2 deaths early on their own gold lane was a problem. Tagami taking some deaths as well early on was a problem. They just weren't able to get to where they needed. And then the Eve, I think I was wondering whether it would work in some of this current meta. Obviously in that draft, it wasn't able to pull through. Still maybe a little too squishy. I mean, got taken out by Starsoy at like first level 4 Uji Shadow kill. That shouldn't happen under a tower, so maybe Eve still needs a little bit of time, maybe a little bit more buff till it's ready.
But I think a lot of it did actually come down to the surprise of this Beleric. Leading up until that final debut of the hero, I actually had no issues with the draft at all. In fact, I thought that it was very good from CFU to lock in so many tanky heroes, have good counter engage, a mid laner that can take care of herself if she gets died by Hilda or Hayabusa, because they can see that Virtus.pro wants to play the aggressor. They want to be the team that's snowballing. But then the Beleric comes around. A team fight lineup like CFU's is really based on counter engaging, but now they also have their own counter engage, and the Beleric was being used a lot more effectively in these team fights, and that's completely just caught CFU with their pants down.
Yeah, what Beleric does is basically denies all re-engage. You're forced to go all in when the Beleric finds its placement, and again, Kao flickering in the river in the mid, if I'm not mistaken. That's what led to the wipeout eventually that pushed straight into the tier 2 and just, again, writing was on the wall. The game was over, but not on paper just yet. So now we ask, what does CFU Gaming do going into game number 2? The ladies are already at their battle stations. They're ready to go. We're just waiting for the draft. Is there anything fundamentally wrong with the way that they attack the draft here? Or do they just not get blindsided? Is it just one thing? It's just watch out, phase 2, Beleric.
Yeah, I think that, watch out, phase 2, Beleric, but also maybe the Eve was too early. Maybe putting all your eggs into that type of composition was a little bit too early. I think the idea of that draft was very well, but once it's on the table, once your cards show, it becomes very obvious on how to deal with it. And VP was able to answer that very quickly. The Yee's probably not going to get banned out. You could have maybe held on to that type of strategy a little bit later. Maybe they didn't plan on sticking to that strategy, but either way, yeah, showing their cards a little too soon in the draft.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that as well, because you guys already talked about how much more open the meta is right now. There's a lot of possibility to pull out random picks that perfectly fit for the draft you're dealing
It's
with.
wide open.
So when you lock yourself into a draft that's very specific in the way it approaches team fights, you are going all in on big AoE ults. You are generally going to be grouping up 5-man to fight a lot of the time. It's very obvious what you're going to do. It's very telegraphed, and your opponent can just counter draft in that way.
So don't rock yourself into a certain comp, like maybe flex up until
Leave yourself open just
second
a little
phase.
bit. Just leave possibilities
Yeah,
open.
allow for that much, which is weird because here it came at the cost of a red side team. That is one of your main strengths. The red 5, red 4, that switch up, that should be one of the main benefits of being second phase, trading for that power pick blue side. So now, as the draft begins, we'll get confirmation. Virtus.pro still staying blue.
Okay, so CFU chooses once again to go to red side, correct?
This must be because of Time Ego's decision. All right, coach, on you. Destined one win away from going to the next phase and eliminating CFU Gaming. It's match point. This could be the last time we see CFU Gaming in action. It's now fine, Trex. I'll leave it all to you.
All right, let's see exactly how this turns out here. Looks like graphic went down. Maybe they did switch sides. We'll see if that comes out exactly that way or not. What do you think we got to do? I think at this point, CFU definitely got to switch something up. Maybe go for a slightly different composition this time in the way they approach the game.
I think we have to bring up again what we observed and what we asked them after their previous loss in day number 1. Part of that was attributed to a lack of adaptability and not really being able to adjust on the fly against a much stronger opponent in a high-pressure situation. We are looking at the almost exact same conditions here where they were not able to adapt. They were too locked into a specific drafting style in game number 1, and that cost them a lot. So now it becomes tested. This could be their final chance to show the world that they are capable of evolving from those mistakes.
Yeah, evolution has to come now, though. It's all on the line. It's match point. Virtus.pro in a comfortable seat, taking out their draft, taking out their whole plan, finding an instant answer to it in the second phase. And as Leo said, those are supposed to be the advantages you get on the blue or on second pick side. So let's see if they can pull something different this time. First pick back to Virtus.pro. They do pick up the Jushin once again. Nothing changing majorly.
If it's not broken, don't fix it. I also predicted that VP would go for the exact same opening since Jushin was not banned out in the first phase. It is up to CFU to decide how they want to adjust things. Previously, they went the Gatot Yisanshin opening, and I actually don't have much of a problem going for the same thing again. It could even lull VP into a false sense of security, but everything else needs to be revisited.
All right, so they do switch things up a little bit. They pick up the Bedang this time. They take the Moskov for themselves, take up some damage. Virtus.pro could still go for something like the Granger here. It's wide open. It's a decent choice. We've seen it work well. Does have some poke advantage over the Moskov, but if they're going to pick up their marksman now, I mean, I think picking up the marksman in this first phase could be good because after this, you're running out of choices if that ends up being the bans from CFU in second phase.
I agree with you. Going for marksman here would be fine, since it's typically not going to be a role that affects the overall draft that much anyway, and you already know who your opponent is going to be. But VP is still sticking to the basics, the exact same first 3 picks from game 1.
We're not changing nothing. We beat you with it. We're keeping it the same. And not a bad vibe, because either way, this works right here. The Hilda, we kind of doubted it a little bit, but overall, this composition, these first 3 picks can be pretty good against anything you want to bring. You know, there's nothing, yeah, the CC could do some work to the Hilda. There's a few EXP laners that can give some work to the Hilda, but overall, the Hayabusa and the Jushin are just solid picks.
And it's a great combination as well, because Hilda is going to punish weaker early game squishier junglers, while Zusin is able to handle slower, bulkier tank jungles. So you cover your bases while having that Hayabusa, which is very commonly banned out across the meta.
Oh, this time they pick up the Joy, though, which is a hero that's kind of fallen out of the meta, but we have seen perform very well, at least in MWI so far. The Joy, though, I would say, even when it was still good, the Hayabusa normally gets the win on it. The Uji Shadow Kill can just out-time the electrifying beats, nullify it, and the damage just kind of wins out. So I will say that CFU picking this into possibly a losing matchup, at least against jungler.
It also means that CFU need to commit hard to winning EXP lane in the draft, because the Joy is going to be vulnerable to Hilda invades, and if you don't have a strong side lane to play around, then your jungle becomes very vulnerable. VP was actually on the receiving end of this when they played Uranus jungle with Badang Roam, and they weren't able to deal with a Hilda.
Yeah, so now into second phase of bans. Here comes the gold lane bans. As we kind of predicted, the Harith gets taken out. CFU, do they ban out the Granger here as well to just really limit down on a Virtus.pro hero pool?
It's difficult to say. There are still gold laners that would give Moskov a fairly hard time. Iritel, Bruno would be pretty safe matchups, but CFU switches it up. They go for the ban on Tigreal instead. This is a common Joy counter, so they're trying to give Tegami the best possible conditions.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's solid. We saw the big set potential last time with the Belleric from Virtus.pro. We know it's something, that type of hero is something that Cow does a great job on, something that can make big plays for her team. And Virtus.pro, I mean, it's just a playstyle that they play well at. Look for those big picks. Look for those moments that a fight can immediately turn into their hands. And with a damage dealer like Hayabusa, and then whatever gold laner they want to put in, it'll fit. On the side of Virtus.pro, we still need more bans. They take out the Phoveus, huddle down into that XP lane, kind of showing that this is definitely where the Hilda is going. CFU now on the gun, though.
So here's a concern. They banned out the Tigreal as a Joy counter, but the other hero that was a traditional Joy counter was Belleric. And he works super well against Moskov too. So there's genuinely a threat of Virtus.pro bringing Belleric back for Cow in this game, and CFU Gaming needs to prepare for that in some way. They really gotta make sure that EXP lane wins out. I think you might have to leave it for last pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for them. Mage pick still needed. That's another thing that the Eve did not really work last game, and I think they need to rethink how they're gonna approach this mid lane. ZTN is still open, but against the Hayabusa, it's kind of like a sitting duck. Has a little bit of trouble dealing with an assassin, but they go for the Aurora. We saw the Aurora lose last series in the hands of TLG. I'm not crazy, but I think it's the whole point of the Aurora is does really good against those slow-moving frontliners, but there's not a lot of slow-moving frontliners on the side of Virtus.pro.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I'm very confused. This is not an Aurora game by any sense of the word, in my opinion. And even if it is a pocket pick, I don't see it performing very well against Hilda, Zusin, Hayabusa at all. Right now you got the Iritel on top of that, and it's basically impossible to lock anyone down. Aurora is so vulnerable here.
If she can catch more than one person with that ultimate, I will give her a round of applause, because it is going to be tough. Literally every hero on the side of Virtus.pro has a lot of movement to them or kiting ability. The Belleric does come in, as you said, a nice answer. CFU now, final pick. What can they do to try to turn this around?
You need to win out lane against Hilda. There are a few EXP laners that would be able to do that, but nothing that would also help you against the Belleric. I'm trying to think as well. It's tough, yeah.
Real tough. This is a hard situation for the side of CFU. My mind is still on this Aurora. They have, I mean, their whole composition kind of revolves around diving a little bit, and Aurora's just going to be sitting in the back all alone as Badang hits a fist crack, as Joy runs around. Here comes a Terizla. A little something, but CFU's draft just seems a little too all over the place for me.
Yeah, not a good final pick in my opinion either. Doesn't really directly win out on Hilda, and doesn't offer you much to catch VP. It's a similar situation to Aurora. You are not catching more than one person in a penalty zone most of the time. I think the odds are stacked against CFU.
Even more reason for them to break the odds, though. Can they tie up the game here? It's match point for Virtus.pro, life point for the side of CFU. We just already saw earlier today, GG come back from the brink of death, 1 game away, and get the reverse sweep in. We're not crazy about the composition, but the possibility is never there. I've seen teams do it in worse odds, Sadafa.
It is possible, but it is going to require some of the best gameplay we have ever seen from our Cambodian representatives. Their backs against the wall, 1 game down, 1 loss away from being eliminated from MWI 2025.
Ooh.
Can Virtus.pro be their final opponent?
Within the first 30 seconds, it was already almost a death on the field. Ui has to go back to base. Taking a look at everything, the emblems, nothing too out of the ordinary here. Nothing crazy at all. Now, we mentioned the EXP lanes earlier. Moshi up against Daisy. Daisy got cut off in game number 1, did take a death, but with a Hilda, that's normally okay. I think what's going to be big for CFU is can Terizla get involved in these team fights early on.
We're gonna get taunted back into the lantern, but VP not gonna force it. They're not level 4 just yet.
All right, on the top lane, gold lane, Yui does have this Moskov. Now, you know, before this whole event started, we were talking about the Aerithal a bit and how it's a lot of us believed that it's one of the best gold laners you can choose right now, but so far, it hasn't been the gold laner that's been exactly showing up. It is, at least in MWI, it has taken a decent amount of losses, and a lot of others have been seeming to improve. And whether that's just a comfort thing for a lot of these gold laners, you know, a lot of them have been going back. We've seen things like Claude's, we've seen the Granger work, we see the Moskov working out. And it might just be that a lot of these girls in the gold lane haven't completely adapted to the Aerithal playstyle yet. I don't know, but we'll see how this one goes.
I think Aerithal is just generally considered good because she has a great lane matchup against a lot of the other meta gold laners, and she does great burst damage into the mid game faster, but damage consistency is where he ends up lacking.
Ooh. Yeah, I think, oh.
2v4 in the mid lane, Tagami comes in with the electrifying beats, Daisy in some trouble, but is able to flicker to safety.
I mean, Daisy's good at this point. Since Daisy hasn't taken a death super early on, she's already at level 4, able to just kind of move around, use the bushes to her advantage, pop the passive. She's already able to take a lot of shots, just had 2 or 3 members on top of her, and she survived with ease. Saw also showing that she can be a true annoyance on this Jushin, even being able to catch Tagami with the lantern, pull her back. CFU kind of falling behind again. It's 5.
There's a skirmish.
Whoa.
Daisy gonna get caught out actually. Wrath of Dryad caught multiple members. CFU all gets picked up. 3-man lantern. Double kill for Sa. Alive with 1 HP. Moshi finally finishes her off. Gonna lose their passive though. Starsoy chasing them down.
Sa just lifted Tagami up and crushed her right there. 3 members in the lantern. That's not something you see every day right there.
The entirety of CFU Gaming just tried to run at Virtus.pro. It worked at first, you know, they actually managed to power through the Wrath of Dryad, but that's a Zeus sin, man. You gotta give him respect.
Saw hit him with the Magneto, man. Just lifted them up, grabbed them in her fists, threw them against the wall. It was very clean, very well played. It's 3-2 right now. Virtus.pro, 1.4K gold lead. EXP laner still kind of keeping it slow, but this is the problem that I was worried about. Moshi just kind of stuck in that lane, unable to help out too much in these fights right now.
I said that it was important for CFU Gaming to win out that EXP lane, and unfortunately the Terizla just doesn't win out this matchup. He's not even really going to be successful keeping Daisy in a lane. In fact, it's the opposite that is happening to Moshi right now, and I mean CFU Gaming is going to have difficulty fighting on the opposite end of the map.
Yeah, and what I think Moshi's kind of messing up here. At this point, Moshi just has to be comfortable, has to have faith in her team that they can deal with Daisy, because Moshi's giving up multiple minions right now. She gave up one earlier, she just gave up another one. She's giving up EXP, gold, everything to be a part of a fight that she might not even win. So unless Moshi makes a play happen, and now Moshi might even go down for this.
A Lantern picks Moshi back up into the Hilda. Alt penalty zone connects with Daisy. It does literally no damage. Frigid Glacier too slow. Moshi goes down. And Tegami not even gonna be able to commit alt. Another Lantern picks up the Joy Fist Crack on 2 members. But Ui has been abandoned. And now Starstory comes in for the scraps. Double kill to Sa with the Sky Piercer as the Wrath of Dryad locks down Tegami. Cow picks up another kill.
3 members down, actually 4 members down in about 20 seconds. And this is what I meant. Moshi not only gave up a few minions, but then loses her life in that fight. And that's a lot of gold for that cost. That price is very, very hefty for CFU. And it's those small things that start to add up. Taking a look at the items, though, a little bit of fight up top before we do it. They are going to back off, but yeah, taking a look at the items. Taking a look at Liv already working in onto that second item, sitting about 800 gold ahead of Yui.
Liv in a lot of trouble though, caught 1v2 with the penalty zone. So that will help Yui catch up a little bit in farm.
They go in a bad spot, forced to use the flicker. Starsoy.
Ogi Shadow Kill, jumps to Fa. Aurora still has the passive, but Fa not gonna need to use it this time.
Claws locked in for Liv.
Oh no, Yui jumped into Tribush. Daisy was there waiting for her. Has to use the flicker to get away, but here comes Stars. Oh, what?
Oh, was that the SOD to get away from the Uji Shadow Kill? A beautifully done mechanic right there, and it's moments like that where whether they're winning or losing, you have to appreciate some of these females playing.
Man, I was prepared to say that Spirit of Destruction wasn't going to do anything there, but Ui also not going to be able to do anything here as Sa picks up the mega kill. So many Sky Piercer stacks on the Susin. Moshi now surrounded by 4 members. Starsoy with another one under her belt.
Man, that was such a clean mechanic right there by Yui. It's not something you see every day. Top tower now getting taken down. Yui trying to make some play happen. CFU not wanting to give up this match too easily.
But it's already slipping away from their hands. We're 7 minutes in. Virtus.pro is nearly at a 4K gold lead. A lot of that on Sa, who has probably picked up 4 or 5 kills since completing that Sky Piercer. This Zusin is a threat. And CFU Gaming doesn't have very good ways of jumping on top of her.
I mean, it's very similar to what we saw last game. Virtus.pro not even changing up their draft too much. All the same heroes except for the gold laner, and they look good doing it. CFU was the ones forced to try to change things, and currently just not working for them.
Daisy runs directly at Moshi. Fist Crack misses completely. Rapid Dry lockdown too. Tegami looking for Sa, but not able to find his Spirit of Destruction. Comes in Yui on top of Liv. But here comes Sky Piercer. Double kill for Sa.
Saw 8-1-3, a harsh turnaround from what we saw yesterday. And wait, Tegami in a bad spot.
Daisy found her, recalling. Not gonna get the kill, but gonna make that walk of shame back to recall elsewhere.
Unless Daisy goes after her again.
None
Does let
likely.
her go back to the base, but still, 8 minutes in, Virtus.pro. Let's take a look at him. Starsoy 207, Saw 8-1-3. And Saw just does such an amazing job at sitting in the right spots of their fight. Don't think too much is going to come out of this. Just a little bit of a testing 1, 2, 3 to see where CFU's health bars are standing right now. But as I was saying, Saw's been doing an amazing job, man. Just holding herself together. Even though emotions have been running high for her, she plays the game well in that state, it seems. And there she goes again.
Moshi gonna get picked up, lifted right back into Daisy, and picked up again. It's a godlike streak for Sa. Rapid Dryad actually misses Tegami this time around. But CFU not gonna be able to find anything from that.
You know, for being such like a kiting, almost passive hero in a sense, I love it when a player gets on a roll with the Jushin and they just become this aggressive Jushin where they're in your face, you know, flaring to the side, grabbing you, throwing you around. I mean, it's definitely, you get the Sky Piercer in, and now you're doing even more damage, or you're assassinating people in the last few percentages of health. This is the type of Jushin that's very enjoyable to watch at times.
And Zusin is no longer just the light that illuminates the way, but also way too bright and just burns your opponents in the first place. That is what Sa is doing for Virtus.pro right now. 9-1-3 on this hero. This is the second time this has happened too. For game 1, she also was a huge threat.
And Starsoy still unkillable as well. The side of CFU, Tagami, needs to be a little bit more careful the way she approaches these fights. She can't just dive in. That's not the objective anymore. I think her main goal needs to be around not this Lord, but possible next Lord in terms of looking for steals, looking for small moments. Positioning is going to be key for her. She cannot take these fights head on. Fa as well, man. Timing on that ult, it's already such a hard hero to play in a match like this against who you're going against. So it has to be perfect timing on that ult. I don't think you want to use it as an engage. You want to use it as a last moment. Maybe even use it for when they're encroaching onto these towers, when you know they're going to be getting close together. Here comes the conceal play, though.
Ui comes in, Fistcrack connects with Cow. Not really the target you're looking for. Here comes, look at how much damage Zusin does all on her own. Frigid Glacier lands on Daisy, penalty zone on 4 members into the Spear of Destruction. But another Raft Dry comes out, zones out CFU Gaming. They can't find anything.
Yeah, I mean, even Yui knows I can't commit onto that Spear of Destruction. Yes, the penalty zone lands. Yes, everyone's grouped up, but still just maybe too risky. But at some point, CFU may have to commit the all-in here. I don't know when that point's going to be, but it might be coming a little too soon for their liking.
That was already one of the best opportunities CFU could have asked for. They hit their AoE abilities on basically the entirety of VP. Tagami trying to jump on Liv, still surviving, I guess just trying to buy space, but Sa comes in, picks up the Legendary. That's a strange call.
Sa does it once again, grabbing her friend and taking them out. Tagami down, and this is what I meant by Tagami. This is not a point that you can just rush in, man. This is not a point where you can be the joy that you want to be. You have to be a bit sneakier. You have to be a bit more patient.
Starsoy doesn't even need the Ogi Shadow kill. Gonna wait for the passive to burn down before picking up the killing spree. Frigid Glacier does nothing, only delays the inevitable. Legendary streak for the Zusin. Min inhibitor falls so quickly. Fistcrack again only on Cow. And Starsoy does so much damage. Tagami comes in, stopped in her tracks instantly. With the Raptor Dryad, it's another double kill. And now Yui is 1v5 in the base.
This may be it. It's nothing but Yui. The game should go.
There is
Virtus.pro.
nothing CFU can do here. VP have done it. A clean performance. The adaptation after their loss in day number 1 has borne fruit, as they will officially eliminate CFU Gaming from MWI.
Virtus.pro has wiped their slate clean, being able to get a 2-0 sweep after the day before.